Hello everyone, welcome to SAP Technomaniac. In this video, we will see one another query option, $batch. What is the batch call processing? What is the use of that $batch? Do $batch query require any implementation? We will see this all the things in this video. We will try to create one basic Fiori application and we will see how this $batch operation called from the Fiori app through the OData service and how we will implement that in our backend system to get the data or modify the data from the system and to the system. Let's get started. So first we will see what is batch call processing. Till now we saw that whenever we are getting the data from the system, we are calling that particular entity type, and at a time we can call one service call. Either we can get the data from the system, or we can modify the data from the system, or we can create the data from the system in one call. We can't combine the data of the multiple calls in one hand. Suppose I want to get the sales order data from the backend system, 4970 sales order I want to get. Not only 4970 I want to get, along with the 4970 I want to get the 4971 as well. But I want to get in one hand instead of making call two times. One time with 4970 and another time with 4971. I want to call both the query options together in one call. That is possible through the batch request. Batch request, basically it will combine the different service calls in one, and then it will send to the backend system. Those all the data will be get in one hand. So that we will see. So for doing the batch or request, this is the query options we have to use. You can see here we have the service name and we have to put the /$batch. Then this will then you will ask like that, how we can send the service call. Here we are just passing the $batch query options where we are sending this. I need this data, get sales order 4970 and sales order 4971. We have to pass in the payload. We have to create the payload. The template is given here, basic template. You will get automatically that template when you click on the get query option and you click on the $batch. You will get this kind of template where we can pass the multiple service call together, not only to get the data but modify the data in the system. So apart from this service, we have to use here post method. $batch always need the post method. Because why we need the post method, you will ask, because in which method we need to send there is only one method where we need to send the payload. If you remember from my previous video, when we created the employee data in the system, or when we created the sales order in the system, whenever we are sending the payload, we were using the post method. In the same way, $batch also we need to send the payload. So that is the reason we have to use the post method. HTTP method is the post method. And what is the query you have to write? $batch. And where you have to write all the queries in the payload itself. Apart from that, one more important thing, as I told you in my previous video, we have header request and header response. In the header request, we have to pass the content type. Instead of passing content type application HTTP, we have to pass the content type multiple mixed, and we have to define the boundary. What is the boundary? Equal to batch. That I will show you how we have to do in the system, just to give the overview. So you have to pass something like this. I will explain each and everything. You have to pass, this is the payload you have to pass, where inside the payload you have to tell what is your content type, what is your transfer encoding, and what kind of data you are expecting to get back, and then you have to write one by one all the query options which you want to combine. In this case, I just combine one get query option, but you can combine here multiple query option as well. Video, we will use Z-employee 002 project instead of using the sales order project, because we need to create one work list step where we will try to create the employee data from the Fiori app and delete the data from the Fiori app. Something we will try. That is the reason. And as you know, it's a very basic thing. We have already one table over here, z_employee_ram, and if you're following me from the previous videos, we have created this table, and inside this table is having so many fields. Based on this table, we have created the entity type, employee entity type, and we have employee entity set as well. And we have created the OData service for this, where we are creating, updating, and deleting the employee set from the system and to the system, obviously. And in this way, we will try to understand the dollar batch. So if you see here, let me show you that basic implementation. This is the sales order and implementation. If you see DPC extension class of the employee underscore 002 table, if you try to open this one, we already implemented the get entity set method, get entity method, delete entity method, update entity method, and the create entity method. All the basic implementation done already in my initial videos, where we understood the CRUD operation. Let me again maximize. Okay, it got closed. Okay, so let me minimize again these other things which is not needed. So you can see there all the basic method got implemented. In the get method, get entity set method, we are getting just data from the table, and in get entity method, we are just getting the single line. We are raising the exception as well. And create entity method, we are inserting the data in this table. And the delete entity, update entity method, we are updating the data. And delete entity method, we are deleting the data from this particular table. It's basic implementation CRUD operation we have already done. Now we will try to understand the dollar batch on top of this particular implementation. So what we will do, so let me go to our ZW underscore client T code, or we can say where we test our service. And as you saw, wherever we have to pass the payload, I always use the gateway client testing tool. So where I can easily test all the things, I can pass the payload as well. You can see now, this is the basic Z employee underscore 002 service. If you execute this one, you will get all the data from this particular table, all the service. If you access the entity set, you can select entity set from here as well. There is only one entity set, employee underscore set, and you can get the employee data from this particular table. You are getting all the data. To understand the dollar batch, where we can combine the multiple queries together. So as I told you, we have to write the dollar batch query option. After just your service name, instead of sending that particular entity, suppose I want to get the data from multiple entities as well. Suppose in the sales order case, I want to get the sales order header data and sales order line item data. I have different entity type. I didn't create the that expand and deep insert. I want to get those two data together. I can use dollar batch as well. So in this case, what you have to do, you have to put dollar batch. As I told you, we have to pass the payload as well, and you have to use post method. One more important thing, I'm not getting here that one of the options, get different query options. If you click on that query option and if you select the dollar batch, and for you automatically this template will come, where we no need to do you can modify that template and you can create payload. But in my case, that different query options are not coming. I try to, in newer version it will come. I think it is older version, that might be the reason, or there is some configuration is missing. That might be some reason that options is not coming to aid the query options, filter query option or metadata. We click on that button, then it will give us different query option. We select one of them and automatically it will add it here. But in this case, I'm not getting that options. So if you select the dollar batch there, you will get the template to create the dollar batch. No need to worry. But the first step, this is the query options. As I told you, we are not passing here any service name. So how the system get to know what kind of data you want to get, or what you want to do actually. So that we have to define everything in the payload. So first important thing, this is the HTTP request and this is the HTTP response. As I told you, we have to create the HTTP request and content type. Instead of passing the application atom XML or different content application HTTP, you have to pass this one. Your content type, multi-part mixed boundary equal to batch. That you have to pass. Control V, and this is your batch name. That is very important name. This is the same batch name, whatever you are using. You can use batch, you can use batch underscore 001, 002, whatever you want to use, you can use here. But whatever you are using this name here, you have to use in your payload as well. Once you have given this name and click on the button, now you have to define, you have told the your data, your query, that I want to get the multi-part mixed data. I don't want to get single entity, I want to get multiple entry, and I define that boundary. The boundary will be the batch. So that I will define here in this particular our payload. So again, I will copy paste. I don't remember because it's coming from the template, so I never try to remember these all the things. So just I will explain what it is doing basically. So first we have to start, in this case the batch name is different. You can see batch underscore 001 is there. Here we have given the batch 01. If you want to change also, you can change here. Once you have created, you can edit button. Instead of giving 001, you can delete 01, you can give. And same name you have to give. You can give batch as well. If you are giving here batch, you have to use batch. So here this double dash is saying that we are starting our batch. And here double dash and back at the end double dash, it is saying it is the ending of that particular page. So this is the starting point and this is the ending point, first thing. Second thing, we are defining the content type. In this page, in my first request, what is your content type? I'm telling it's a simple application and HTTP method we are going to use, and content type, transfer, encoding, you have to use binary. These two query option, this is the same thing in how we are writing in HTTP request. Same thing we are defining in the batch itself. This is nothing but HTTP header request only. We are defining inside the batch for this particular query. And this three thing we have defined, except JSON format. We are expecting data in the JSON format. And this things 3 line defined. This is not the mandatory thing, but this is mandatory thing. You can remove also, that is fine. This is 2 lines are mandatory, and again I'm telling, no need to remember. If you want to remember, that's your wish. You can just click on that particular query option and you will select the batch. It will automatically select the post method. It will add this $batch and it will give some template where you can modify the template according to you. You have to give. Now suppose I want to get the employee data. I don't want to get the sales order header data. Instead of getting the data, I want to get the employee set data. Let me copy this one, Control C. Let me close this one, and instead of header data, this is get, means what you want. Get means it is getting the data from the system. Suppose I want to get not the single entity, I want to get the entire data in one hand. Employee set, get employee set, your entity set name you have to give, and you have to define what protocol needs to be used. That is HTTP 1.1 protocol I want to use, and this I am ending the batch. Few things you have to remember. There should be, after the content type, there should be 1 line space, and most important thing, there should be 2 line space after your query options. That's mandatory. If you don't give the 2 line space or 1 line space, you will get the error. I will show you that also. Let me execute this query option here. Let me put the breakpoint also in our system SE24. Let me open G employee DPC extension class and display it. Control and I defined the for method. Let me put breakpoint everywhere. So we will see, once we implement everything, we will see one by one everything. It is calling all the methods. At least as of now, I put in the get entity set method, not in get. Okay. Let me go to my query option and try to execute what result I am getting. So first, most important thing, I'm not getting any result and my methods also not triggered. That means there is something wrong in my batch. You can see I passed the 001 here and 01 here. That is some, you can still, I'm getting that 202. The batch request got accepted, but I didn't get any result. So you have to make sure you are not getting any response body. That is not means that your query got successfully executed. That means there is some error. That is the reason you are not getting any result over here. So you have to modify here. You can see your starting batch is different and ending batch is different. So you have to remove this one, batch underscore 01. This should be this one, batch underscore 01 is starting and batch underscore 01 ending. The base name should be same. Let me execute again. This time I think so breakpoint will trigger. It got triggered. It is calling our get entity set method. If you do F8 and if you do F8, I hope so I got the data as well. So this is how we have to do. So in the data, you see, again, I got the same response. Most important thing is that we have to see this response, not this response. This response, if you have write in correct way, then you always write get the status code as a 202. When you will not get that, also I will show you. But before that, again, it is telling the content type, content length, what you have got, and content transport encoding. And after that, you are getting your successfully executed your first record HTTP 1.1 200 status, means it's okay. Then what kind of content you got and what is data you got. In this case, I got the data, different data. I got employee ID 2, I got the employee ID 3, I got the employee ID 4, I got employee ID 5, all the data I got, and date, name, city, everything I got. For whatever the data is available for the entity set method, I got. Now I want to call, instead of all the employees, I want to call the specific employee. Let me see the data and see what data. Execute this one. I just want to call 10. Employee number 10 I want to call. So you just have to pass same query option how you used to pass in your when you are calling from using the URI. Same thing you have to pass here in bracket. I want to get the 10 number employee ID. And again execute. Before going that, let me what I can do, Control X. Last time it got successful. If I remove that space and try to execute, you can see I'm getting error. This is bad request because I have to give after each query option 2-liner space. If you don't give 2-liner space, you will get the error. There is some formatting issue. The data service could not be understood due to the malformed syntax. We are not passing the correct syntax. That is the reason. So you have to give 2-liner space. And now let me pass our employee ID and try to get, instead of getting all the employee together, try to get the single employee. Let me execute. Again, it trigger the breakpoint. You can see this time get entity set method triggered, and we do F8. And here in the response, first thing you will get the correct response, and then HTTP request got successfully executed. 200 status means okay, and here you will get always 202 if the response $base is having the correct syntax in that case. And you got it this time only the employee ID 10. What is the employee name? What is the city name, company name, department, date, start date, end date, salary, and everything you got in one together. This we can do using our simple get entity set method. We can call that entity set name. It will return all the data, and we can call entity set name and we can provide the key field. Then it will just return the one key field. Why we need the batch for that? We don't need batch for that. But suppose apart from getting this employee set data, I want to get some other entity set data together. Or in this case, suppose I want to get only 2 entity set data. Employee number 10, or let me get one more thing. Employee number 9 also I want to get, or 4 also I want to get. So in this case, let me get one more employee number along with the 10. I want to get one more employee. So what you have to do, just you have to write again your content type. So again I will do something. The next batch request you have to write again you have to write this batch. I don't want to. Then same thing you can do like this, Control C. For the next batch, Control V. So first batch was this. This is the same batch, but again it is starting next query. For the next query, you have to again write the batch name. Same thing, content type, content transfer encoding. Let me remove this one. This is not mandatory. And you have to give the entity set name which you want to get for this particular project, and you have to pass this time your employee ID. Let me get 4th number employee as well, along with, and I'm ending out my batch. In this case, you can see I will be getting not only 10th employee, I will be getting the 4th employee as well, data as well. If I want to get by the separate query run, I have to call this one separately and I have to call this one separately. But in this case, this is the $base. We combine 2 query options together and getting the data for both the employee IDs together. So in this way, you can call the header data here and line item data here. You can write the query and you can get the header and line item data together if you are working with the multiple data. But most of the time, I will show you what is the recommendation of the SAP when we compare dollar batch and the expand query options and deep insert, which we need to use. What is the advantage of the dollar batch and what is the advantage of the expand query option and deep insert, that also we will compare either in this video or next video. We'll see. So we'll try to execute this one. Let me execute this query. Again, it is saying the bad request. I think there is something wrong we did. Application employee set is 4 I want to get, and I'm ending the batch over here. What can be the mistake? Let me see. 2-liner are there, employee set. Okay. Then 2-line space, and after 2-line space, 1-line space. Here 2-line space is here, and after this you can see there is only 1-line space. There should be 2-line space, then only it will be sent. So you have to make sure this is the format should be correct, otherwise it will tell bad request. Let me execute now. This time it will call 2 times get entity set method. First time for this employee ID, which one? 10. Let me do F8. Second time it call 4 employee ID in one service call itself. We are not calling separately different URIs. This is one URI only. Let me do F8, and this time if you see, this is the first request. In the same sequence, whatever we have sent, we ask for the data in the same sequence, we will get the data. In this case, I asked for the first 10th number employee ID, so that code successfully executed. The status is 200, and you can see we got the 10th number employee, and second request you started from here again 200. Okay, and again we got the data employee set 4, and you can see the data as well. Now we will create one basic Fiori application, work list application in SAP Business Studio, where we'll see how the dollar batch or batch query option called from the front end and how it is executing. So this is open our SAP Business Studio. It's a trial account. You can also use how to come to this screen or how to create your first project in your SAP Business Studio. I will provide one blog link. You can follow the same, and you can create your own account and you can explore the SAP Business Application Studio. It's a very useful. It's a futuristic tool where you have to do all the development. I think in future cloud ABAP developments maybe we have to do in the web-based tool as well. Instead of using the Eclipse, there is something called Eclipse on web that also we might be used. So what we have to do here, we will create one basic Fiori application, worklist app. I will not do any JavaScript coding. I will just create the basic application, and we will try to call our employee 002 service in that particular Fiori application, and we'll see how the dollar batch is calling from the web front-end system to the back-end system. So let me create this one. So what you have to do, you have to click on the file button, new project from template, and once you click new project from the template, I will be explaining slowly because this is Business Studio and it is very slow, I can see. And you can see we have to create one application. It is asking us to choose the template. In this case, I want to create one basic SAP Fiori application. Select SAP Fiori application and click on start button. We will come to next step. Here is different kind of reports we can create. So I will, at this point of time, I just want to create work list page. Let me select the work list page and let me click on next button. I want to create basic work list page application where just we have to display the all the data of the employees data I want to display, and click on the next button. The third step is very important because we are going to give here our OData service. There are different options are available. You can connect your system also to this particular your Business Studio. There is different steps are involved. I don't want to go there, but the best options, if you have already services created, you can directly connect to any OData service. Not only our OData service, you can use open source Northwind OData service to explore the Fiori apps and all that also you can do. In this case, I will use our own OData service employee_002. So you have to see, you have to tell connect to a OData service, and you have to give your OData service path name. In this case, my OData service name is this one. So you have to copy entire path, Control C, and let me come to here. Instead of giving this one, Control V, I have to give the sales order. Let me copy from here. The service name, Control C, Control V. This service path you have to give, you have to copy your service path, which is having your server name, port name, SICF node and application name, and that you have to come here and you have to provide your service name. Obviously, this is not the open source service. You have to provide your user ID to access this service. I will give Technomaniac, and you have to provide obviously password as well to access the service. In this case, I will provide my system password I already saved over here, and you have to click on the login button. It will try to access this particular service. It is, if you are able to successfully access the service, then you can proceed further to create your application. You can click on next button. It will ask for what is your main entity on which you want to create your work list application. I have only one employee. It is one entity set that automatically got selected. No need to do anything. If you have multiple entity set, you have to select which entity set you want to create your work list app or application. You can click on next button. You have to give your module name, or you can see your project name. I will give some meaningful name. Let me create a employee work list, something like that I can give, or it should be not bigger enough, and there is some issue. Okay, employee work list, if there is issue, and you have to create, you have to give the path where you want to create. Let me create in my all the project. I created all the projects in particular this path. You have to give that part where you want to create your particular application. Home, user, projects I have given. You can select from here, and this is a Fiori application. Let it be. No need to change anything. This will be template. I don't want to configure anything. I don't want to create FLP. I don't want to do anything. Just click on finish button. I just want to create one very basic application. As soon as you click on finish button, it will create a very basic application, and as you can see, it is installing all the dependencies, and once it is created, we will see directly our output. I will not gonna do any single line implementation in the Fiori site. Just we will try to preview our application. We will try to see how this particular application calling the data from our backend system, and how the OData service called from to the backend system to get the data. Yeah, still it is installing all the dependencies. You can open the folder. You have to click on open folder. Since I have created, this is a different folder currently open. Now I will open whatever I have created the application. That same folder I will try to open. You can see employee work list app got created successfully. Let it open. As I told you, it is slow. My video might be little bit tempered, or my voice, because I'm using a lot of parallel applications. So what you can do, you have to click on your web. No need to don't touch anything. There are a lot of things are there to understand the Fiori applications or UI5 applications. No need to worry as of now. You just have to right click and click on your preview application. It will open. You just run first step, start Fiori app, and you have to click here. It will open one terminal, and it will try to open one new tab where you will be able to see your first application. to my Technomaniac channel. In future, we are going to create a lot of applications and the Fiori as well and UI5 as well. So you can see it's taking little bit time. Be patient since it's trial account. So I think we have to give our password because you can't access Technomaniac, and I have to give my password as well. To access the data through OData service, as soon as you give your user ID and password, you will be able to see all your service data, whatever you have maintained in that table. Which table? This table in your Fiori application. This is all the data you will be able to see in front end as well. Let me show you. It's loading. It's taking time a little bit. Let it take time, but I want to see my data. Okay. Oh, breakpoint. Sorry, I have breakpoint. You can see breakpoint got triggered. Let me do it. There are no visible column currently. Let me click on setting button and select which column I want to display. That's a very important thing. As of now, I want to display all the columns, and let me click on OK button. You can see whatever the defined column in that table, all column you can see amount, city, company, currency, department, ID, name, one, start date and end date. You can see in this table also ID, name, city, company, department, all the fields we can see now here. Let me click on OK button. Again, breakpoint trigger. Let me do one more thing. Let me remove this breakpoint from here, get entity set method. I don't want to trigger again and again from my front end application. So it can be displayed quick way. So you can see breakpoint got triggered. As of now, let me do F8. And you can see the data. You can see employee ID Rohit, Dimple, second one, third one is the Ramya, and Ram, which we just now say employee ID 10 Ram. What is the city name? You can see what is the start date, what is the end date, what is the company name, SAP Technomaniac YouTube, SAP Technomaniac, what is the currency, what is the ID, and you can see the what is the salary as well. So I didn't do any implementation, sir. It's created very basic implementations, but we have to see how we got this data from backend system. That we have to find out. To find out that, just you have to right click on that, and you have to click on the inspect button, and it will open the dev tool, development tool of the Chrome. It will open parallelly. You can detach also. There is a lot of options to detach your development tool from the Chrome. You can select from here somewhere. But as of now, I want to go to the network tab. Let me close what's new tab and this all the tabs I don't need as of now. And you can refresh your application to get the data again. And again, you come with your data. You see your service call is running system. I'm not worrying about the other service call. I'm worrying about the OData service call. That's how you can see. You have to come to the network tab. There are different CSS. Since it is the SAP application, it is slow. Wait, data is loading. This time I hope so breakpoint will not trigger because I removed the breakpoint trigger, and we will get our data directly. So okay, save. Let me select again my columns again. You can configure this column will display automatically. When another service call happen, this service call we have to see. You can see $badge. If you see this $badge service call, if we go to the header, this is one post request, and you can see how they are calling service. This is entire my service name. Let me increase a little bit over here. That is the reason I detach this particular service. This is the service it is called from front end. SAP OPU OData, this is our SICF node, and this is service batch, and that is the dollar batch they are calling. And inside this dollar batch, they are using the request method as a post. And it got successfully executed. That is the reason we are getting the 202 status. But if you go to the payload, what payload you have sent, that is very important thing. You can see in the payload, content type is the application HTTP. How you used to send through our data server. Content type is the HTTP application HTTP, and this content type, if you want to see, I think you can see in this header. Content type, you can see multi-part, mixed, and boundary equal to that particular batch ID, and that batch ID you can see in your payload as well. It's a starting of this batch ID. You can see batch underscore, this is the batch number. The same way how we have sent the content type, this is again, and this is the batch ID over here, and this batch is starting over here. They're using this batch ID. Instead of using that batch ID, we are using this batch number. Both are the, I just want to compare both the tool, how it is working. That is the reason I want to show you parallelly. You can see if you go to your header, first post method we have used, here also post method we have used, and second thing 202, it got successfully status code. We got the successfully 202 status code over here, and in this case post method and URI also, you can see employee name and dollar base they have used. We have used the same service name, and dollar base, same thing we have used. And if you see the payload data, before going to payload, you have to go to the header, and if you see content type here, this content type in the header, you can see multi-part mixed boundary batch equal to batch name. In the same way, you can see content type here, multi-part mixed boundary and the batch name. This batch name you can see in the payload. Starting of your batch service name, what is the content type? Again, this is different content type than whatever we are seeing there. In this case, the content type is the application HTTP. Here also you can see application HTTP, and this 2 lines binary coding binary, then your get request after 1 liner space, and there are a lot of other data, and then 2 line space, and next batch if you want to call, you can call. In this case, they are calling only one request. That is the reason they have get employee. And this is the service. If you copy this one, let me copy this one. This, instead of calling this simple get employee set request, this is this one. Let me copy and show you guys. Let me maximize this one. Let me copy it. Sorry. Let me come here. Control C. Let me paste here. Control V. So if you see this service request, basically nothing. They are calling this service with different query options. Get employee set, and the first query option is $skip. We didn't discuss till now $skip. We will going to discuss in our next videos, and $top also we are going to discuss in our next videos. But $select we have already discussed. They are selecting some of the columns only, and there is last, you can see some of the columns, means in this case all the columns, they are getting the employee ID, name, company name, department, start date, end date, and currency. We have selected all the columns. That is the reason all the column. If we have selected in our Fiori application to display only 3-4 column, in that case only the 3-4 column might have selected. This is how they return this get employee query. And then again HTTP 1.1, and there are different payload. There are other options also there. They want to get the data in the JSON format. That is the reason they have written accept JSON format. So it will return the data in the JSON format. Preview, you can see they got the data in the JSON format. We didn't write any query after that. If you want to get the data in the JSON format, after this one, you can write like how you can see in the Chrome. In your payload, you can write that accept data in the JSON format, then it will return us the data in the JSON format. These are all the things in the what kind of data you want to get from the backend system, that you can define here in the payload itself, and based on your input, you will see your output here in the tray. And based on this data, whatever we got from here, you can see the result got displayed in this application. This is how the OData service call from the front end system to the back end system. It is happening. There are enormous code is available to display this one. We created simple template based application. I didn't do any implementation. If you try to understand this project, this is also very tough, because it's again it's a Fiori application, and you can create using the UI5 as well. But I didn't create it. I just used the template. So I know from my previous experience, this is calling the dollar base. That is the reason I just want to show you guys that how it is called. It will be helpful, this service, when we discuss further our query options like filter, order by. This also we can experiment here. If you, for example, in this case we don't have filter options, but if we create same way, instead of creating work list, if you create the list page, I will do in my next video, where we can add here filter options, and filter query option automatically will be added. And skip top also we'll discuss in upcoming videos how it is working. We have to do some implementation for that. We will do the implementation in backend. It will be replicated in the front end. Those things also we are going to do in my upcoming videos. In this video, we just discussed to get the data from the system using the different multiple queries options. Through the dollar badge, we can modify also our data in the system. We can create the employee set, we can update the employee set, we can insert new entries, we can delete entries from our employee set table using this particular service using dollar badge. That also we will see in my next video. I think in the front end application also we have some of the option, create and delete options are there. We can select and we can click on delete, and we will going to experiment, is it deleting that particular entry from our table or not. That we are going to see in our next video, how the dollar badge working with the change set. Before going to that video, please like this video, share this videos with the others as well, so they can also learn with that. Thank you and happy learning.